Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beneath the Lift Tower, your fans podcast by fans for fans about Northampton Saints. My name's Charles McGillivray, and I'm once again joined by Jess Keble and Simon Stacey. We're once again going to talk about Northampton Saints and get into the fixtures. There was a pretty decent one last Friday, and there's a pretty decent one coming up this weekend. So, how are you both doing?
Good. Tired. Yeah. Still tired.
Yeah. Still recovering from that, man.
It was, it was a bit of an emotional roller coaster. Well, I don't know if it was actually. I always thought we were the better side. I don't think we played particularly well. I thought we were excellent at scrummage. We were excellent at defence. You know, the physicality from the likes of Langdon was insane. It was so good. But he never got
so fired up. He wanted to tackle everybody.
Yeah, but we never really got our game on the pitch and really tested them. I don't think as well as we sort of we could have.
I'd say that down to Sarries, though. To be fair, as well, they tried to nullify us, didn't they? Didn't let us play.
Yeah, they targeted the breakdown massively, didn't they? Which is an area of ongoing concern, I would say.
I'd say it was a bit of a concern in the first half, but I think we made a bit more of a concerted effort in the second half to try and rectify that a bit. But it's still our quote unquote weakness, if I would pick one.
Yeah, I was just so nervous. I was sat next to a Sarries fan as well, which was a bit annoying because I was being polite and not shouting as much. But I was in a daze. I had to watch it back because I couldn't remember the final whistle. After 20 minutes of trying to get tickets for the final, I was a blur. I didn't remember any of the game. I was so worried, and because they could have nicked it with 2 points. We should have won it by loads, but we knew it'd be close in the end. We all went a bit high with the scores, didn't we? But
I didn't.
Sarries wouldn't go down dying.
I was going to throw out that I went for 6 points and I said it would be close and it would all be about penalties. And I'm going to take the plaudits this week.
I think I just think we were poor, and whether that's because we were a bit shaky because we haven't really played much. We rested a few players, but it's almost like the good thing is though it's amazing that we can play Saracens in a semi-final, not really perform, and still look pretty good in there. Like the sense of I always thought we were in control, and obviously they got that try from nowhere at the end, which maybe makes the scoreline look closer than really the game was. I think we made some stupid errors giving away penalties, but I thought we were pretty in control for most of the picture, especially as the game wore on. It seemed like we got more and more in control.
Yeah, they were just doing enough, weren't they? They knew they'd done enough. They didn't have to exceed themselves, but you just expect them to score some tries, and it was never going to be like that because Sarries don't play like that. So you knew they were just going to come and be in your face. But oh my god, I was a nervous wreck. I just want us to mess it up because we've been the best side, and
I mean we did leave a lot of points out there, but I don't know. I see it a bit different. I wouldn't say we were poor. I actually thought we played quite smart for quite a lot of it. But we did also do things that we have done in previous games where we just, getting turned over or dropping a ball or a pass that doesn't quite come off, etc., etc. It's happened. But I think what I did take a lot of confidence from in terms of, I mean, obviously we're going to come onto it in a bit more detail later, but in terms of thinking ahead, that game's probably going to be quite different in terms of the way Bath play compared to the way Saracens play. And I think there's going to be more opportunities to get those points on the board than perhaps you get against Saracens. So I feel fairly confident in that we were putting some really, really nice passages of play together. And there were some ridiculous passes and line breaks, etc. I feel like, again, if that just clicks on the day, we can put points on the board. So I do agree that we did leave quite a lot of opportunities that we should have taken, but also a lot of confidence to take from the fact that we managed to close that out and hold on, and we knew how to do that, and they looked and seemed fairly confident that they felt that they could do that. I mean, that maul at the end to win the game was absolutely ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. What an amazing passage of play, to do that at the end.
It's just I I was a bit fearful of. I said about the 2-week break, because players, I know you're having a rest, but if you play rugby, I only played amateur, but you need to play to be match fit, and it just showed there was a little bit of cobwebs there, but that's out their system now. So hopefully they'll be full gun blazing and go and put it on Bath.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a mental. It was just. It was a mental atmosphere. It was just. I think it was a lot of nerves.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the fact that the atmosphere was pretty incredible, really. I think the atmosphere was sort of almost along the lines of the fans sort of took it upon themselves to get behind the team rather than it being, pandemonium because the game's so incredible and everyone's like on the edge of their seats and they're reacting to everything. There was a lot of sort of, a lot of singing and a lot of, getting behind the team. They're sort of, it's not like the semi-final, say the Wood semi-final, where the game was just so unbelievable that the crowd was just so loud. Whereas this was like the crowd was really loud, but it was because they were making that effort to support the team, which was great. You mentioned tries. Let's sort of run through a few of them. I mean, the first was the Saints one, obviously, and I mean that pass from Furbank to Fred the Needle, just outrageous.
It's funny because I've watched that back now. I watched the game back, but I've watched that video. And I saw someone else comment on social media the same thing. Like, you just can't see it. No. You literally can't see it happening. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I think we've seen quite a few of them do passes like that across the season. Like Fairbank has done it. Freeman, Dingers, all of them have probably done it at some point. Just passes where you just don't see it happening. And so there's no defence for it really, is there? It's like it's really difficult to defend. And then obviously the ball goes to someone who's just absolutely massive and is there as a battering ram. It felt like there was only one outcome once he got it. And yeah, that's the best game he's had in a Saint shirt by a country mile.
He was man of the match in my opinion. Yeah. I know Mitchell orchestrates everything, but Berger carried every single ball. He scored a try. Yeah, he looked special that night. It was his best performance again, I think.
Yeah, I think it was decent. He played pretty well. I don't think he was man of the match, but I think he played. He definitely played his part and was really good. I mean, the other pass that was really of note was that out the back of the door, Mitchell won to set himself up for the dingle through the gap out the back door and almost finishing the corner. It sort of shows you that's one of the cases whereby, we just didn't have that finishing instinct, that sort of killer instinct that we've normally got. Where if he'd have, stepped off his left and driven in towards the pitch, he probably would have made it and given himself space to roll and, not go into touch. But he obviously backed his pace and then got caught by Gonzalez, who's a pretty special athlete. But
I'd say it didn't feel like lack of a finishing instinct for me. Like I think he put his head down and he ran. It's just an out of this world tackle that you just, it really. I felt like really it came down to that really because
he still managed. It was
just ridiculous
because he's gone.
He did put the ball down.
I think if you had a winger in that scenario, they're probably stepping in off their left foot and they're driving in towards the post, and therefore they're still getting over the line, but they're nowhere near touch. I think that's sort of, someone who finishes for a living, that's what they would have probably done. Whereas Mitchell did what he does for a living with a little bit of genius to set himself up, sort of thing.
Yeah,
I thought he was outstanding, to be honest, Mitchell. I would have put Langdon as man of the match. I thought the physicality that he brought to the game was outstanding. But I can understand Mitchell's choice, the TNT choosing Mitchell, because he just sort of started to make things happen and made very good decisions at the right time. And I get the Berger put a lot of effort in as well. And like I say, that sort of, I would lean more towards that as well with Langdon, but I get the decision.
I mean, I'll be honest.
It was minutes, wasn't it? Langdon went off with 60 minutes, so Mitchell played the whole game.
Yeah.
I also felt like I was the same as you guys. I was like Berger or Langdon, like one of those. And then I watched it back. And when I watched it back, like with that in view, I got to the end of the game. I went, no, I totally get it. Like I just totally get it, seeing it, because you just miss so much stuff when it's live due to lots of factors. You've got a limited angle. You've got the nerves and the excitement of the day. Like you said, everything is quite a blur. And I just remember watching it back and thinking, no, I totally understand. Because it was just that second half, you just set the whole team alight, really. And obviously we couldn't quite get the points on the board in terms of tries, but he made all the difference, because I think in that second half we were so far ahead of them in terms of how well we played. I think we were easily the better team. I think that scoreline flatters them, because I think there was a minute and a half to go and we were 9 points up. And I think they kind of, I've said this before and we've done it before. Sometimes you subconsciously switch off, your mind's already ahead of like, we've done this, we've got this in the bag. And I don't think that try would have necessarily happened if it had happened earlier, but with a minute and a half to go, you feel like you've closed it out. But Courtney and Timo, they knew what they needed to do at the end.
Yeah, when we're talking about man of matches, I think Courtney Laws is probably in the in the mix. He was pretty phenomenal. His just sheer will and determination was outrageous. Yeah. I got a bit worried when the coaches started walking down walking down from their spots at like 2 minutes to go.
A bit early.
They always do that.
I must say though, it gave them a really nice way to kind of celebrate when the full-time whistle goes, because Vesti was just jumping on players when that finished. She was just, and that was probably a really nice moment for them to have that, to be fair. But yeah, it was a little bit like, okay, I know there's 9 points in it, but anything can happen in 2 minutes.
Gotcha.
And then so I was a bit like, just everybody chill. But
God knows what they feed Courtney. God knows what they feed Courtney. To play 80 minutes, 35, in the intensity that boy plays. Yeah. God, what he's on. No, I don't mean anything illegal, obviously. I just mean, he's just insane to play that level of rugby at 35 and be in every single tackle, ruck, maul. Yeah. He's not human, that boy.
Well, Dawson was saying in the week, wasn't he, that it's not very normal for a player to go from the second row to the back row. Yeah. He said by the time he gets to breathe, he'll be playing centre. Yeah, he's just a phenomenal all-round player, and he's got every string he's got.
Yeah, I also feel like we need a word for Finn Smith as well. Except for I think the first game he played for us, which feels like absolutely forever ago now. I don't think he's ever had a bad game, and I know he missed one kick, which, it was with 2 points at the end, it could have made the difference potentially if it, them a bit more. He just felt, again, really self-assured, really confident. Only missing one kick off the tee, he scored. What was it? I don't know how many of the 17 of those points was it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, he scored 5 penalties.
Yeah,
5 penalties in conversion.
It's because it's a lot to put on the head and shoulders of a 21-year-old. And he just seems to have been able to shoulder that. And I think, we saw it like against Munster when we beat them away, and I think we saw that again Friday night. Just a huge level of confidence and just assuredness in his own ability. And I said it would probably come down to penalties. We gave quite a lot away, so did they. And so that those 17 points are, the crucial winning points essentially, really.
Yeah, no, I agree with the boot. I think he kicked incredibly well off the boot. One of those early kicks was from really wide out, and he made it look easy. I don't think he had his best performance leading the attack. I think there were a few times when the option was to pull the trigger, and he sort of took it into contact rather than throwing the pass. And maybe that's because he's playing a lower risk. He's always thinking about it a bit more, always trying to keep to it. They're doing, different game plan. But there were a few occasions where I thought, pull the trigger there. There's an overlap, and he didn't quite do it. I think the thing to say about the whole thing though is, like I said, we didn't play our best, but our defence. You can't have an off day in defence. So even if we didn't play our best, we still had an incredibly good performance with our defence. Yeah. And, the reliability of that defence now is really, really top drawer and really the difference maker. I think it makes us a great side that we can now actually have games when we don't put up a game on the pitch and still win.
And I feel like it's going to be really important for this weekend. Perhaps even, I don't say more so than last week necessarily, but Bath are an incredible attacking side. Some of those individuals in that side are fairly similar to us in terms of just making something out of nothing. So that I still think I think we're going to put some good tries on the board this weekend, but I think that defence and keeping Bath out is going to be the crucial element for me in terms of how it goes. Because Saracens, look, some of their guys in that back line had a very off day. I mean, I hate picking people out because people think you're being harsh to the opposition side, but I think it's the worst I've ever seen. It's the worst I've ever seen Elliot Daly play.
Yeah, no. I
feel bad for saying it. I feel bad for saying it, but he probably feels this. He probably feels the same way. I mean, kick out on the 4, the shanked kick, 2 dropped balls that no one in their right mind should have needed to have dropped. Like, I mean, we can talk about the Pearson kick as well that he dropped. That kick was absolutely ridiculous, and a 7 shouldn't be doing anything like that. But that kick, there wasn't really a huge amount of pressure. I don't know what he was doing. It was just an off.
Just took his eyes off the ball too early. He was looking up too soon. I mean, he also got rounded by Furbank.
Yeah, Furbank was running down to him, but
he wasn't too bad off the tee.
He wasn't too bad off the tee.
And give him his due. I'm not defending him, but we all know Farrell was injured, so he's had to take the kicking duties. So he probably wasn't prepared for that. I don't think he's played 10. He was kicking everything, so I'm not defending him because he didn't have a good game. But Farrell was playing on one leg, and he still
he was.
That little rubber through for their try was quality.
I was going to say that. Yeah, I thought Farrell was actually really good. I think he kept them in it quite a bit. I mean, I think he went out playing really well. It's not like he's whimpered away. He brought Saracens and almost did the job for them. But it started with that cross kick at the beginning, which opened us up. That little thing, like you said, the kick through, the grubber through for Lewington's try was outrageously good.
It just bounced perfectly, didn't it? Whereas Ollie, when he chipped it through 3 times, it bounced. It's like, that's the rugby ball for you.
I remember the commentators are like, that's probably the 3 unluckiest bounces they've ever seen. And it just so happened that it happened to one person because he was far and away ahead of everyone else. And then that last kick, it was just too much on it, really. And so it disappeared over the dead ball line because I felt like we didn't utilise him as much as we should. I mean, he's the Prem top try scorer, and I don't reckon he got the ball until fairly late on into the second half, really.
When you've got a defence that's rushing quite many times offside, they're so in your face. You're not going to be able to play the game we play. That's what they tried to do. You heard them in the first 20 minutes. Every single thing they were doing, they were whooshing, going woo, like all that all the time. It's like they were just trying to wind us up. They were their game plan was to stop us playing, and technically, I
suppose though that the funny thing is, in terms of trying to wind people up, I mean, it's not going to work as well when you're being pushed backwards, scrum after scrum. What was it, 6 or 7 scrum penalties? I was like, the women didn't go on for very long. I can tell you that. Like it just, I mean, Charles, you pinpointed it last week. It just absolutely demolished them. Yeah. And you've still got. I mean, Jamie George. No offense to the guy, but he's apparently England's first choice. How he just got completely and utterly, and I know obviously people go, well, you're biased because you think that Langdon should be called up, but I said he's just 3 times he's been outplayed by Langdon now across the season.
I had a Sarries fan next to me, and I was saying to him before he started, I don't know why they don't start Dan. He's quick, he's agile, he's good in the. No offense to Jamie George, but what does he do? I don't think he scrimmages anymore.
I agree.
Doesn't even scrimmage anymore.
Yeah, and his lineouts, the lineouts left a lot to be desired.
He's very simple. He has to do very simple options at the lineout. He often hits 2. It's often hitting the Itoje, for example. He isn't a particularly strong scrummager. He used to come with like these great supporting lines, right? But I don't really care. Like that's that's a sort of an extra for a hooker. It's not your bread and butter. But he loses contact every single collision. He doesn't win collisions. If he carries, he generally loses ground, and if he's tackling, he'll go backwards. I've never rated him. I don't want to slag him off. Similar with Daly to some extent, in the sense that Daly is world class at ball in hand, open field. Doesn't bring a lot more else to the pitch. But when you've got those players and they're surrounded by world class, when they had 30 odd internationals in the squad, you can get the best out of them. When you need those players to step up and be everything for you, they've been found a bit wanting, I think. I mean, with the scrum, I said last time that Aogan had Riccioni on toast. Well, I think Alex Waller had it this week, and he just destroyed him every single time, and that's the difference from them having four international tight heads in their squad previously to having Riccioni as their first choice tight head. It's a big drop off. to where they were, and like it's the reason why they're finishing fourth in the league and not where they were previously. You know that
they kept mentioning there was 20 internationals in the 23, but I'm not being disrespectful. A lot of them are at the end of their careers. The Vunipola brother, but Mako, my God, Big Trev had him on toast every match, every scrum. It was. I hate to say it because I'm not a fan of Sarries, but it was sad to see because these guys have won so many trophies for England. They played for England, and they were just awful. I couldn't believe they came out in the second half. Their front row.
Mako's never been out to scrummage though. Like he's been a great ball player. And he carries well and physical, but he's never been a scrummager. Like you think back to was it 2015 England South Africa World Cup final when Sinclair went off, and then it was Cole and Vunipola, and they just couldn't. They got absolutely mullered. Then that's not his game, you know. But like I said, Saracens have never been a scrum focused side. Even when they were, you know, winning Europe and everything, they weren't, you know, they weren't massive. They had a big set of forwards and they played a very physical game, but it was never built around a strong set piece. It was built around that defence, wasn't it?
You look at our pack. I don't know the weights. I didn't see the weights, but our pack isn't heavy. But it's just the techniques. You don't have to be. You don't have to be 22 stone. It's the technique. They absolutely. Yeah. I think they said we'd had 16 scrum penalties all season. We got 6 in that match.
Yeah.
That's just mental.
I mean, it was an area that they had admitted, I think, both pre and post match that they were targeting. You know, they made no bones about it. They were targeting it. I mean, Alex Waller's been on a mission all season because it's his last one. I mean, he's just been having everybody left, right, and centre as much as he can, you know, before he finishes. I mean, there was one time where he, you know, the penalty against us was a very clearly hips out turn in.
Yeah, he balled in. He clearly balled in.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, but I'd also say with that one is obviously the loose head is on the outside of the scrum. If the tight head buckles inwards, it often looks like this because the loose head follows him in, so it looks like you're driving him in, where actually you're just following him because he's buckled, and that's quite often, you know, the loose head will get pinned when it's the tight head who's buckled and gone inwards because of the way it looks. It's just that folding inwards sort of thing. But it did set slightly hips out, but I wouldn't. I'd say
most referees. That's what I was saying. You know, most referees just give the penalty to the guys that are putting the ball in, because unless you played in the scrum, they have no idea. They just see it because them in the front row it's dark arts and they do stuff that you don't want to know, and they can't see what they're doing. They normally just go, oh, they went down. Yeah, I'll get to them. It's one
of my biggest bugbears with the sport, though, is that we accept that. Like we go, oh, no one knows what's just going on with the front row. Well, no, they should know because they get paid to know. Like they should know what's going on, and it's not a case of, you know, it's like a running joke in the sport that no one knows. Like educate the fans, educate everyone. Let's know what's going on, or don't have it. Like,
I mean, it's why I really love listening to Flats when he's on comms.
Yeah.
He does an excellent job of trying to tell you what is actually happening in there and why that penalty has been given, whether he agrees with it or doesn't agree with it, and why. I mean, he's one of the best commentators to listen to, I think, just generally, but is obviously very knowledgeable in that area. And every time you watch it back and you listen to him, you do genuinely learn something about it, and so that's always a useful thing. But yeah, I mean, I actually I felt like the ref performance was actually really good. I think there were some things that were missed, which is just human nature. I think there were things missed on both sides. I mean, Alex Mitchell definitely got an elbow to the head at one point.
Jumped in the air,
yeah.
I didn't think much to it.
No, I don't think there's much. I don't think there's much in anything that got missed, to be honest. I think there was a bit of head contact from one of ours on one of theirs.
Is he not in the final? Isn't he doing the final?
I think that's what people think are happening. I don't know if it's been officially confirmed, but I'm sure I did read that it was going to be one of the 2 semi-final refs that were going to be doing it. So I think it was always going to be one of Luke Pearce and Ridley, and I think Pearce will be on the touchline.
That's what I've seen. So, I'm not sure. I don't really rely on the source that I've seen.
No, neither do I.
So yeah, wait and see. I think.
I thought they said the Independent had published it.
Yeah, but then
it has been published
with like a weird date on it. So therefore, I'm a bit.
Yeah.
As long as it's not our friend from the big game at Twickenham, we'll be all good.
I'd be very surprised.
I'd be very surprised as well.
But I think it does usually tend to be one of the semi-final refs.
Yeah.
So I think it's most likely. I'm not saying that Dixon won't be involved or someone else like Kylie won't be involved on the touch line, but I don't think they'll be in the middle. But I thought you had a really, really good, because like you said, you mentioned like usually they tend to give the penalty to whoever's putting the ball in the scrum, but Riddy didn't fall for that. He, I think we probably got a few.
What about if it's not blatant? Whereas we were absolutely mullering him in the scrum, so there's no defence. I would just mean when they go down and they go, oh, Sarries have got the ball, we'll give them the penalty. That's all I meant. There was so much...
no, it does definitely happen, but I thought he had a really, really good performance.
Yeah, he did
the
well.
only thing I would say on Ridley as a referee was he really doesn't want to make decisions, right? So therefore it becomes very inconsistent. Like first 20-30 minutes of that game, the breakdowns were just wild country, like players off their feet, in from the side. It was a complete mess. And then later in the game, Courtney Laws goes straight off his feet, right? So it is completely the right decision, right? But he goes straight off his feet, penalty, and we'd have definitely scored if it hadn't been given that penalty. But if you look throughout the rest of the game, there's loads of examples of exactly the same thing, but he's picked it up there. Like, so when you're a referee, you don't want to make decisions. You instantly going to be inconsistent, because at certain points you feel you have to make the decision, but then you've missed it. Because if he hadn't have made that decision, we'd have scored. It would have affected the game.
But he is a ref that likes to get the game flowing, isn't he? That's the thing. So I agree with you. He needs to make the decisions, but he just likes to let it go and just play on.
Yeah, it felt like he certainly called the really obvious one. So Willis playing the ball off his feet. Pearson very clearly put his hands on the floor before he touched the ball that time. Like, he does pick out the really obvious ones, but I agree. I think he is a ref, quite like Luke Pearce, that if you can let something go, they will, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but I do think it gets on Courtney Lawson's nerves sometimes, because I think sometimes he's thinking, but I saw someone do that 5 minutes ago and you didn't ping it. So yeah, it probably is a frustrating, because Courtney's always trying, isn't he? He's desperate to get turnover. He's always the one in there. So yeah, I think it probably does feel a little bit annoying and a bit inconsistent, but at the same time, we play better when we've got quick ball and things are just left and we can work through the phases and the motion. So it's a case of, you can't always have it kind of both ways, I suppose. But yeah, I'd be happy if either him or Pearce were in the centre, to be honest, this weekend.
I don't think we've
Cox, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever been an issue with him being a referee. It's just they've all got their quirks, haven't they?
And we know his. That's the thing. Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's an impossible game. Yeah. It's an impossible game to referee. If you played it, even if you just watch it, if you play it, there's so many rules and little niggles that happen. There's no way they can see it. That's why they have the TMOs. Even they don't see it. It's so much happens that doesn't get flagged. So we all moan at the ref. It's not their fault.
I do quite like Ian Tempest as a TMO. He doesn't try to butt in about every single little tiny thing that happens. He's there for the big decisions that need to be made. But sometimes you do get TMOs that like to sort of butt in a little bit on everything. But I quite like Tempest. He's sort of hands off until he needs to be hands on. And like the key decisions, I think were done correctly. Jamie George's try definitely shouldn't have stood. So off it came.
It's a good spot. Very good spot, that.
Yeah, I mean, they spotted it. To be fair to Austin Healy, he spotted that in comms immediately.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. I know it's good for the game, but that's the one thing that annoys me, because when you watch it back, BT comment, and then they go, "Oh no, the TMO is obviously watching that thing. Oh, hang on, we need to check this." It's always them. They do pick it out, so fair play. But he said he's offside. He's offside. They do it all the time.
And to be fair, I mean, to be fair to Tempest as well, he caught that immediately. As soon as it was given, he went, "I'm just going to review this," and he went, he's in front of, and also to be fair to Owen Farrell, because captains try to argue every single bloody thing that they can. That's their job. But Farrell took that, nodded, knew what he'd seen on the thing, was like, I don't actually have an argument to that. It's a very clear decision.
He made up for it for the rest of the game, though. In referee's ear every single time he could possibly be there.
Yeah.
It was. I think it was a good send off for from Farrell. He played well, and he some of his touches were really, really sensational. He kept them in it, to be honest. But
yeah, it
shows the class of the man. He had one leg. His right leg was knackered. That's why he wasn't kicking.
Yeah.
He was playing with his left foot. So whatever you think of him, and I think he gets absolutely mullered for no reason. He is a world-class player, and he went out on a high, and he carried his team.
Yeah.
He couldn't play to his full potential.
Yeah, I always look back on it as well. Like, people are going to have their issues with Saracens. Are going to have their issues with certain players over time. But just to be booed by your own fans in an England shirt, I don't even know where that came from or what even the point of that was. And I know that people have spoken about it, that, you know, it didn't just upset him, but it upset his whole family. And I think his kids were there at the game that day and had to hear some of the comments that were being said about him. And so that's screwed them up for a good period of time. And, you know, having to deal with that, like, it's exactly, you know, that I think people think that because they're there for our entertainment, we can do whatever the hell we like. And I'm like, that they still are the same as you. They're going home to their partner and their kids, and they've got parents, you know, they've got people that are affected by it as much as. And I think if it was just him that heard it, he maybe could have shrugged it off. But yeah, that one had wider implications for like the rest of his family that had to hear that and experience that. And so I totally understand, you know, wanting to stop playing for England for a while and get out of the country.
But the problem you have with Twickenham in an England game is probably over half the capacity aren't proper fans. It's all hospitality, hoity-toity. No, if I don't care if anybody complains about that, it's true. I used to go every year, 2 or 3 games. You try and get a ticket now, it's all hospitality. They don't even know what they're watching. It's so sad. It is. They're outpricing the normal fans.
No, it's
they just jump on a bandwagon, and it's sad to see because the normal fans that actually love England don't get to watch them.
But I mean, I've got no doubt there'll be some hospitality there this weekend because it's just a huge game. But I'm just hoping that because it's a domestic, you know, because it's a domestic as opposed to an international, I'm hoping that there's enough genuine fans in there that it doesn't quite feel like that. At least that's the hope anyway. Obviously, we've not been to one for 10 years, and so I don't know what it's going to be like. But
it's just the problem you've got is they sell the tickets the minute the final finishes, don't they? So people go for a day out, which is fair play.
Yeah.
They can, but a lot of them will be there that don't have a clue what they're watching. But then there'll be probably 30, 40, 50,000 that are rugby fans, and they'll know. We've sold our allocation, not a problem, haven't we? Probably plus some.
Yeah,
so definitely plus. Yeah,
they said well represented there. That's for sure.
They said that they sold 10,000 were sold Friday night, and that's way more than the allocation. So
exactly. There's people that have bought them in advance. I know you did, Charles. So yeah, there's probably thousands of Saints fans that have done that. I just can't do that. I had faith, but I can't go and watch Sarries in the final. I just wouldn't. So
going back to the game then. So one of the biggest debates we had before.
Oh God, yeah. Sorry everyone. We totally fell away from that.
No, back to the game. That's fine. Back to the game. One of the biggest debates we had ahead of the game was the balance of the back row.
Yeah, we missed that.
None of us picked it.
Well, we did, and we said if Pearson was fit.
Yeah.
We didn't know how fit he was. So
vaguely
how did we? I think we can agree Laws was pretty spectacular, and that was fine. And I think Gus had one of his best games ever. His physicality defensively was better than he's ever done.
I love him so much. He's going to become one of my favourites just because he just pushes people out of the way like they're nothing. Every time he gets hold of the ball, he will literally, without obviously like leading with arms into people, he will just push you and just disappear right past you. And then like you said, his defensive abilities, his ball carrying abilities. I just think he's so good.
He runs that classic South African 8 line, which is across the pitch. So he ends up taking 3 or 4 defenders into contact because he'll be able to get the ball, say on the 15-meter line, but he'll take contact there, but he won't actually stop till he's 10 foot to the left. And in doing so, he's pulled a whole lot more into that contact. And if your forwards can be quick around the corner or your backs can move the ball quick around the corner, you should always create an overlap on that side. It's sort of really old school South African number 8 work, really, but he does it tremendously well. I think we can both all get on board with that one. All 3 of us can get on board with those 2. What did we think of Pearson at 7? And then Loveman when he came on?
I think he did all right. He gave away a few silly penalties where he kept diving on. I was like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Diving on the ball. He hasn't played half a season, has he? So he's still a bit rusty.
Yeah, there is some rustiness there. Like you said,
on
the
his
hands
day,
on the floor.
on his day, he's one of the best signings we've made this season. Start of the season, he was top draw. So He's coming back. So I think that game under his belt will give him a lot more for the final, because I'm guessing they'll go the same way.
Yeah,
Maybe,
you'd assume so. But I thought when Ludlam came on, he added something.
I'm gonna
Sorry.
publicly apologise to him because I kind of criticised his performance from the previous. I thought he was so good when he came on.
Did you hear? I won't swear. I won't swear because we're obviously PC. But did you hear the minute he came on? I had a ref mic on. He went, "Come on, guys, let's give this an effing push," or I can't remember the exact words, but that was it. And it was so loud, I could hear it without the ref link. And I was, that's Ludders for you. That's Ludders.
Yeah, I thought he was so good, genuinely. And so I feel
it's a bit of a wrecking ball defensively, a bit of a wrecking ball going forward. I think that's going to be an interesting call for them going into the next match. I mean, we've talked about Farrell and a world-class 10. Maybe we should now start looking ahead to potentially a world-class 10 that will be having to deal with on Saturday afternoon in Finn Russell.
Yeah.
And Bath, and what that game's going to be like. I mean, it's going to be an incredible day, special occasion for both clubs. Obviously, both clubs haven't been in a final for a long period of time now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I think they play a lot more like us in terms of what kind of, like, they're a very different prospect to like a Sale or a Saracens. I feel like, they do have incredible attacking ability. Lawrence in the centre, and Finn Russell he can do some absolutely ridiculously stupid things, but he can also do some absolutely magical things that just I'm not sure anyone else can do. So I think they're going to be a big attacking threat, which I felt like Saracens weren't. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It will definitely be interesting. I think there could. I'm not saying it will happen because it depends on nerves and what happens on the day, but there could be some good points put on the board, I feel.
Yeah, because if they attack, they'll leave spaces for us to attack. That's the thing. Saris weren't interested in attack.
No.
They just wanted in the face and defend, and it worked. They nullified us. Fair play to them. They nearly won it as well. But yeah, Bath, I'd just literally put Courtney on him. Courtney, kill. That's it. He's going kill Finn Russell, and then
Hulk smash.
Okay. Yeah, Hulk smash. Exactly. Yeah.
The thing is he is a good person, weirdly, to target because he can make some mistakes, and those mistakes can be very bad. Like, we have seen some Finn Russell things that have lost his team's games, whether that's internationally or domestic. So yeah, I still think I do think that's a good person to target and put pressure on and see what happens. But then you're also setting him up to do something great. So you've
got to obviously look to put pressure on him and look to close his space down. But you can't buy into that. Let's just get after him because he's so talented. If you're focused on him, he's going to pull the strings, and you're going to leave gaps elsewhere. When you've got Redpath and Lawrence and Cockasinger and Mir, and big forwards like Alfie Barbary and Hunt Underhill, etc. They've got a lot of strike planners. Don't
forget Spencer. I watched the Sale game and our game against us. He's so good at the interception.
Yeah. He is good.
He's the line. He's in the face. So yeah, he's another one you got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, well, he's an incredibly organised player as well. You got to think of the career he had at Saracens when they were at they were at the top of the game. The last time Bath obviously made the final was that final the year after we won it in 2015, when both Saracens and Bath were above the salary cap. So they just sort of swept under the rug. Both teams were above the cap. There was the whole Burgess era, wasn't it? 2015, end of the 2015 World Cup, when they had Sam Burgess playing 8 really, really well for them, and then England elected to play him at 12. But anyway,
I did feel a bit sorry for him, to be fair. He was a massive scapegoat at that World Cup. It wasn't his fault.
No, exactly.
You got to teach him the game.
Yeah, not play him in a position where he hasn't played at all. Yeah. Anyway, let's not get into that debate.
No.
So that thing, you're looking at this Bath side and you're looking at their key names. I think one of the key ones for us is to really stop and to prevent them getting over the top of us is Barbary. I think when they're firing, he does a great job at getting them over the game line. He's such a good ball carrier. He just carries it with an absolute kamikaze approach. And he's so big and awkward and bulky that he gets over the game line, and it gives him a huge platform to play off.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because Bath I think were quite similar to us. They didn't put their best performance in. I didn't think so anyway, against Sale. And I think actually Barbary was fairly nullified by Sale, to be honest. I don't think he had a particularly standout game. So, you know, it is possible to close him down. It just takes a lot of effort.
To be fair, you had two attacking sides playing two very defensive-minded sides. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
If you'd had Bath and Saints, the game would have been a silly score, and the other game probably would have been about 12-9.
Yeah.
That's what they said. So the two teams, the two attacking flary teams, are in the final.
Yeah.
So it should be, hopefully, a good final.
It does feel a bit, I do feel though, perhaps, I still feel like we're stronger defensively than they are. Obviously, it remains to be seen what actually happens on the day. But I think that could end up being the key difference for me personally. I actually think we are better than them defensively, and having seen them against Sale, there are clear areas to exploit that obviously they'll identify and do their work on during the week. But yeah, I do think it is probably two of the most attack-minded sides are meeting each other in the final. So it does have the potential to be really, really exciting, but then that doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to happen on the day. It will end up being a penalty fest now we've said that. And then it literally comes down to two of the best 10s going at the moment. It's like, oh God. And they're both called Finn.
I mean, as I was leaving the ground on Friday, I put the BBC Northampton on, and then they were Graham McKechnie was interviewing Dowse. And Dowse, and he made the comment to Dowson's, this wasn't a very Saints-like performance. And Dawson put him in his spot very quickly, saying, no, good strong scrum, great defence. It's a very Saints performance. I think they are very much of the line of they don't want to be this just renowned wide team that plays one brand of rugby. That's not what they're trying to install. And I think therefore the game, it's going to be a final. It's going to be a tight, tense affair. And I think it's going to come down to us both teams trying to win territory. Yeah. And then it comes down to the experience of the halfbacks. And they've got the edge there. They've got probably the Lions 10. Ben Spencer's an very experienced 9 against, Mitchell, who's a proven international, and Finn, who is an exceptional player, but he hasn't got the experience of a Finn Russell. And I think that could be one of the areas where we are maybe not quite as strong in terms of experience. We've got the experience this season with some big matches. They can pull back on that.
I think he's got an old head on his shoulders, though. And I think the mentor, I know he's only with him for 2 or 3 months, but I think those months with Dan Bigger was a massive, massive help for Finn. And I think it's took his game on. And you've seen, the lad is 21. He looks like he's been playing it for 10, 15 years. He's amazing. But I know what you're saying. Finn is the best 10 in Europe. He is. But he can have his off days. He's a flary player, like we said last podcast, like Carlos. He has his little magic moments that nobody else sees, and it messes up. But then he has his magic moments to score tries. So just get Courtney on him, hammer him into the ground.
I think, if I'm Finn Smith, I use it as look, people are expecting me to be outplayed by Finn Russell because he's Finn Russell. So I'm just going to go and just absolutely give it everything. And let's be honest, if he puts a good performance in, he puts himself in the conversation in terms of, but I mean, not just internationally for England, but he would end up putting himself in that Lions conversation, I think, Smith. I mean, it's a way away, and maybe it's too early for him this time around, potentially. But, you go out and you put in a good performance against Finn Russell, people are going to be talking about you. And so, I just want him to view it like that, really. Almost like, yes, it's a final and there's pressure and I'm up against Finn Russell, but at the same time, everyone's expecting me to almost come out second best in terms of experience and stuff. But I actually think he's got so much talent and so much confidence and self-assuredness that, I don't know, I wouldn't panic if I was him. But I'm saying that as someone that isn't going to go out and play in the final myself. So, we can sit in our little chairs and be like, just don't think about it too much and go out and do it. But I know it's harder to actually do that on the day.
Yeah, I think one thing, the difference between us and Bath is Bath is a very much, I said it last week and it didn't really play out, but Bath is definitely a team that's driven by its individual talent. They're driven, their attack is through Finn Russell. He's a key aspect of what they do. Whereas I'd say we are more of a unit-based side in the sense of it's a whole structure and a whole shape that makes us tick. And even, Finn, Dingle, Mitchell, Ondell, Freeman, etc., Furbank, whoever's in their roles will probably try and do exactly the same thing rather than bring their own style to it. And it's hard to replace Furbank at the back or Finn in 10, but they're all trying to achieve a set structure, trying to know what they're trying to be. Whereas Finn is a bit more, let me read the game and play off the cuff a bit. It probably isn't that, but it looks like that. Right. So I think that might be in a game form, in a big game like that, it might come down to the structures working, or it might come down to a moment of individual brilliance. Who knows?
I mean, territory will be, like you said, territory and keeping hold of the ball will be the key thing, because both teams, if they can do that, can get themselves on the board. I think we competed against Saracens in the air for the ball incredibly well. Freeman caught 2 or 3 high balls that he had absolutely no right to catch. He just popped in amongst 5 Saracens players and just up you go and just got them.
That one he took with his hands above his head was like full on AFL catch. It was incredible. It was
ridiculous. And so I'm thinking, if he's having a game like that, because there will be kicks, there just will be. That will be an element of the game. I actually think that, I know Charles, you talked about not box kicking or Alex, perhaps being an area they can exploit, but I actually thought he had a really, really good game, putting the balls up every weekend. I think there was only one where it went a little bit too far, so they marked it. All of the others were contestable, completable, and were the perfect choice in the moment that he chose to do them. And he didn't do too many, so when he did do them, they paid off. And so I think that'll be crucial, because obviously we don't know. Ram was at the game.
I was about to say that. Do you not think we missed him?
I don't want to say
he's the one in the air. I know Tommy got it, but the amount of balls they kicked, Ram would have been on all of them.
I think we missed his bit of X factor at the back, bit of extra pace. It's hard because let's get into this. Like, are there going to be any? He wasn't warming up, Ram. Right, so that to me suggests that maybe he's injured.
Yeah, so
He wasn't on the list.
I don't want to speculate.
But the whole squad. I don't want to.
I don't want to speculate. I don't want to speculate too much, but he walked past us at one point, and there's a clear limp. So whether it's an existing injury that feels a little bit exacerbated, but he wasn't not walking comfortably. So I don't know if it feels like don't put him on the list because he might be okay a week later. It may not be something serious, but he didn't look comfortable. But again, I'm not a doctor or a medical professional, so. But
he has had his leg strapped, hasn't he, since he's come back?
And it was a very serious injury that kept him out for a while before he came back. So it potentially is just a case of management. Maybe it was just a bit sore and it wasn't worth it. And so they kept him off the list because he could have played. They just chose not to risk it. There's so many different elements to it. But
I put much weight to that injury list. That's
no, exactly.
One player, yeah. I thought
exactly. And I actually felt that Freeman. It was helped by the fact that Berger had such a good game in the centres that we didn't miss too much by having Freeman out on the wing, and he did catch all of those balls. So that's like you said, it's where the conversation becomes difficult, because I still feel, even with Berger's performance, if Ram's back, I would swap Freeman back in to the centres and Ram on the wing. But he had such a good game. If he's going to do that again, I wasn't expecting him to play so well that it would confuse me so much.
If he's fit, and no offence, Hendy's been amazing. I'd swap him for Hendy on the bench.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say with that is I think as good as Berger was, and I thought it was more a case of how solid he was. He shores things up defensively, and he does put big hits in. But like Freeman probably put the biggest hit of the game in when he's early doors when he smashed him. But yeah, I think by having Freeman one step out, we don't get the best of him. Our attacking shape is built around getting the best out of someone like Freeman, and when he's one step out, you barely touch the ball in attack. How many times would he broken the line by cutting different lines that you don't get with Berger? Berger's up and down in your face running lines, isn't he? It was a beautiful support line for his try, but I think you get more from Freeman in attack.
Yeah,
I don't think you lose any.
But he's playing. He's playing against Lawrence.
Yeah,
but he's bigger than Lawrence.
Yeah. It does still depend what I feel that actually, weirdly enough, having Berger start in the centres was the perfect person for Saracens.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the perfect person for Bath, because I think we're going to be much more wanting to play out wide and around the fringes. And so I think having Freeman in there as a partnership with Dingwall is actually preferred for Bath. But I actually think that having Berger in for Saracens actually worked really, really well. We just needed a big battering ram to get through their forwards. I don't think we're going to quite need that same level of that for Bath. I feel like having Freeman back and if he is fit on the wing would still be my preferred, but Berger he's forced himself into the conversation for the final, right? So
you got to remember Twickenham's a bigger pitch as well, a lot bigger pitch.
I was going to say that as well. I think a lot of it's going to be about covering the distance, and especially if they're up against backs like Muir, Cognizanga, Lawrence. They're all pacey, whereas therefore the extra pace that Freeman comes defensively could be quite helpful as well. Interesting. Like whichever way they go, I won't be worried. I think whoever will do a job for us, but I would rather see Ram with Freeman just because of the extra X factor, extra pace.
It's like an extra. It's just an extra oomph, isn't it? Like you can't put your finger on it. Just
I'd go with that because Ram in the air is the best in the squad.
Yeah,
there's no one better than him.
So I'm just hoping that was more. Like I said, he didn't look 100% comfortable to me in terms of the way he was walking, but hopefully it's more of a management thing, and he's back. But if not, like you said, I wouldn't be overly worried if we had to go with the same setup that we did over the weekend, which is obviously useful. It's useful that we can still play well when we don't quite have the exact combos that we want.
Are there any other areas of the team where you think we would change? Would Ludlam come in at 7?
Oh, it really depends because again, I'm going to come back to the opposition. I feel like, and I said this last week, and obviously I was not correct. I feel like what Graham brings in terms of attacking flow as well and with the ball, that's who I'd start. But I also know he went off with a pretty significant knock, and there's a question as to whether he's even going to be available, let alone. Because obviously that was about 4 minutes to the end, so we never got the information of has he passed or failed a HIA, but he was very wobbly walking off. So
got the extra day recovery, hasn't he?
He does, yeah. So that then becomes a question of that really. I said if he's not fit or he's going to come off the bench, I think I'd stick with what we already had. Because I really love the impact of Ludlam. Like I know he's like you said, an in-your-face, give it 110% player. And I think that works really well off the bench. And I hate to say that about a club captain. In terms of like, it works well off the bench, but he made a huge impact when he came on. And I think that was really beneficial. I really think that was really beneficial.
I suppose there is value to having him at the end of the game. Having him on the pitch at the end of the game, I suppose, is to some extent valuable.
I think it was interesting that they didn't play Tom James at all in that game. I thought he'd get 10 minutes, but then it was too close, I suppose, was their issue, right? It's too close. Yeah. So let's hope that Mitchell is fine to do another 80, because I think he's probably going to have to.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he'll do another 80. I think he had to at that Sarries game because it was too close, and he was orchestrating everything. It's a bit harsh on James because he's a quality scrum half, but Mitchell was ruling the game. He was orchestrating it, so you couldn't take him off.
I definitely think there's some sense in thinking about not just who you start, but who you want to have at the end when you know it's probably going to be a tight game, and you want your best players on the pitch still get influence in the game. I think we've got a really strong bench who are going to have a really big impact, whoever they are, maybe more so compared to theirs. But having part of me would start Ludlam, but then part of me thinks, well, no, I want him on the pitch at the end. And for the same reason, part of me thinks I would start Iogan so that we have Waller on the pitch at the end. Waller's been amazing, and as far as I'm concerned, he's our first choice loosehead at the moment. But that's why I'm thinking maybe even if you could put Iogan on for half an hour and then bring Waller on, so you've got a bulk of the game of Waller on, but he's there at the depth when you need the experience, when you need the calm voice, when you need the person to score the extra time winner. So
I think the only reason
it doesn't matter if it's 20 points ahead, though, does it?
Yeah, I think the only reason I'd argue against that is, again, Manny's really, because he's going to be our first choice when Waller retires. That's like pretty obvious. But I just feel that, again, what he brings on as an impact sub is really hard to deny. Like, he just comes on, and for me, it isn't even coming on and what he does in the scrum. It's what he comes on and does defensively in terms of just throwing himself into the game. So I get what you mean. It would be lush to have Alex Waller still on at the end. It depends what kind of. I confess to not knowing a huge amount about Bath Scrum overall. I know who's in there.
Oh, it's very strong. So they've
I'm
got
pretty
Barnum
sure-
and
and I'm-
Schumann at loose
Yeah,
head,
and I'm
they've
pretty
got
sure it's
Detroit
stronger
and
than
Stewart.
Saracens is.
The toy, yeah.
Yeah,
And so I
Detroit,
would.
Stewart and Tired's international standard. Then.
Yeah,
So
so
Barnum and Schumann are
and
outstanding. So,
it looked
yeah,
strong at the
step up.
weekend, Bath Scrum, to be fair. And so I would start Alex. Just the
Yeah.
experience of it more than anything. Like, he's literally been there and done it. Yes, it was 10 years ago, but he's been there, he's done it. And I just think that's invaluable, really. And like I said, their scrum is strong. Like I said, I don't pay that much attention to different teams of scrums. Sorry, everyone. But yeah, I know it. Like, I do obviously know Abano and Schumann and things like that. They are strong, and they are stronger than Saracens. I knew that much at least. So I would stick with exactly who you had. I wouldn't change it. I mean, Big Trev. I'm falling in love with that guy more and more every week.
Who's
He's just
Did you watch?
Big Trev.
Watch
Oh,
the
yeah, Big Trev.
BT, I think they said. No, I was watching the highlights on ITV, and they flat said he was talking to Douse, and Douse came over to him and went, "If we didn't have Trev, we wouldn't have been top of the league this year."
Oh,
He
yeah,
said, that's it. He said,
And I
top-
feel bad because
Yeah.
before he joined us, I'd never heard of him. And I think there's probably a lot of people that perhaps didn't quite know who he was. Probably lots of people that did. I'm not,
He's played
but
for
he
England.
just all. Yeah.
He played for
I'm just
England. He was a good player at Newcastle, but I think
Yeah.
under the coaching staff we've got here, he's just gone to another level.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It feels like he's just burst onto the scene all of a sudden. And I guess he has played for England, but yeah, it just feels like he's just completely burst onto the scene, and now he's just having everyone for breakfast and like
He's an
having.
agile lump, isn't he? He's a big lad,
Yeah.
so very quick for a big boy.
Do we think
Yeah.
he's in line for a England call-up this summer?
Not with Borthwick in charge. Don't care. Controversial. I don't care. No, I don't think he'll pick Landon either, which
Do you
is
not?
a travesty. Them two should be starting for England. Never
I
mind
think-
England at all.
I think he'll pick Landon just because he's been talked about too much for it to be ignorable. I think everyone's been talking about him literally week after week. He's in all of the media releases, all of the articles. It's always like Landon. So I think he'll get. I'm not saying he'll play, but I think he'll get called up into the squad. But I'm not sure about. I don't know. Borthwick is all of the England. They're all hard to predict in terms of what
Why
it
would
is
you
they
take
want. Like.
Dan Coles on a tour to New Zealand and Japan? So what are you going to learn? Like, what are you going to learn taking Dan Coles? So take Big Trev.
Yeah.
Take the kids. Take the kids.
I would honestly look. I'm just completely biased. Just take everyone. Just take all of it, ours. Just take them all.
Need a rest.
Take Alex Waller. Give Alex Waller his international one before he retires.
that would make just as much sense as taking Dan Cole, to be honest. But, yeah. Right. Anyway, I think we've probably covered quite a bit there, so I think that's a good time to wrap it up. Unless we've got anything else anyone wants to cover.
I just think I suppose we best finish with just a bit more of an actual 15 that we would pick. So we've kind of gone around it a bit and haven't actually, because last week we literally listed our 1 to 15. I think we've missed a couple of bits out, but.
Mine's quick. I pick exactly the same team, unless Ram's fit, and I'd put Ram on the wing, and I'd put Freeman in the centre, and that's it. The same 15.
Yeah.
I would do that. I'd probably start Iogan so that Waller's on at the end of the game, and I might even, I'd say give Iogan half an hour. Give him have Elliot Ellen Mills, Matavesi and Iogan to start for half an hour. They're not going to do that because they don't do that. That's if you're a club that do that, you do it every week. You don't just randomly bring it into the final.
That's a French tactic, that is.
Yeah, it is. It's quite.
Yeah.
A lot of clubs do it. Look, it's a common thing, and that's why I would say I'd be tempted to do that, just so you've got Langdon, Waller, Big Trev on the pitch at the end of the game. But anyway, I don't think they'd do that. That's just.
No, I don't know.
I think
it'll be largely. I think it'll be largely unchanged. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we didn't even talk about Coles. He had a ridiculous game.
Again,
I'm still convinced he's a centre in another life.
Yeah. he's getting into not the same level, but he's getting into the Courtney like bracket, as in you don't need to talk about him because he's getting too good.
Yeah.
It's just good every week. So
and then like you said, like Tebow as a replacement off the bench is a great option. I mean, it was him who first grabbed hold of.
Yeah,
I should know which player it was because I've seen it. You know, it was him who originally grabbed hold of him for Courtney to come in and help him.
It was Dan.
Theo Dan, yeah.
Theo Dan, yeah. You know, he's the one that came in and grabbed hold of him first, and then Courtney came over to kind of help because everyone always goes, "Oh, it's a great last act for Courtney." I was like, don't cut Timo out of this man because he started all of that. Like, he grabbed hold of that guy and physically was just like, "I'm not letting go." But yeah, no, agreed. I think I wouldn't. I agree with you. The only change I'd literally make is if Ram is fit, I'd put Freeman back into because it is just our best combos. Like, it's nothing against Berger. I really do think he was outstanding. It's just those are our best combos in terms of centres, wings, fullback, etc. Because I said Fairbank's out of this world every single week. Like,
he made the difference
again. I know we've mentioned it, but watch it from the other angle. You'll see it.
It's crazy.
I mean,
just his ball carrying ability is, considering he's not massive, his ability to just take the ball and just smash his way through the line is ridiculous. So yeah, I think I'd probably the same. I think there'll be question marks over certain people. Like I said, I mean, if Graham isn't fit at all, then it's a pretty obvious choice, I think, with what it is that they're going to do. So we're just left them with predictions.
Oh, nah. Not for a while. Nah.
I was trying to avoid that.
We can't.
I'm not doing a prediction for the final.
I'm too worried about it, to be honest. I am.
Okay, I'll do it then.
It's one of them, though. It's one of them that obviously I want us to win. All, no doubt about it. But if Bath win, I won't be as upset as if it was a Saris or a Tigers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want us to win, but Bath have been just as like a great side, so it will be an amazing final.
True. Yeah, no, it will. That's true.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do it.
I'll predict them. Fine, I'll do it. I reckon both teams are going to score 3 tries, and then I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Finn Smith's going to drop goal it at the end. Because why not? Because that would be hilarious. So 24-21. I'm going to go close because I think it will be close, like I thought last week's would be close.
Okay. I'm going to go. I don't want this to tempt fate or anything. I'll go 42-38.
Oh, God.
That'd be the greatest game of all time, I think. I don't know. I'm really, really worried about it, to be honest with you. I think, don't get me wrong, we've been the best team all year. We deserve to be there. We won more games than Bath, even though they scored the same points as us. I think that we are a better settled, better set up side, but there's just so much individual brilliance in that.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Like, I'm not writing them off at all. Like, just
my team. I'm back. I don't hate. I hate predictions. I hate doing it.
Yeah.
Got to do it, and I won't go against my team. So I've got to say that, and I believe.
I genuinely.
But it's going to be tight.
Yeah, 100%. I do feel though just based on being top of the league, that's a bit more settled. I feel like it's like 60-40 in our favour. So, and I'll always back us anyway. Okay. But I genuinely feel, and I felt probably incorrectly, but I had a decent amount of confidence going in against Saracens, and I still feel the same. I still feel the same.
You went the lowest score.
I did because I thought that we would. I thought I
went high.
Yeah. I was confident, but I said that Farrell's boot will keep them in it. We will give penalties away, but I still think we'd be the better side. Whereas this one, I think, is a bit different. I think we can both teams can score tries, but I'm still confident, which will probably come back to bite me next week. But I still think Bath could definitely win. Like, I don't want to take it away from Bath. Like, they're a really good side. It's 1 versus 2, right? That's how I think it should be, and I love that it's worked out that way, even if we end up not winning. And so it is supposed to be close, but no, I'm still confident. I think they've got the experience now of 2 semi-finals. One in Europe where you almost took Leinster down, one against Saracens now where you've turned them over. I just think that's going to be a benefit. I think that's what smidges it about 10% more in our favour. They
did say that was the changing of the guard, didn't they? The Saints, Saris, the old boys bowing down to the new boys.
But no, I don't want to take it away from Bath because they're a really, really good side.
It's going to be an amazing final.
They could definitely win.
It'll probably 9-6 now we've said that. It'll be
boring. Yeah.
8-7. Yeah. The thing is, I just terrified because of how good the side Bath is. But I honestly think this Saints side is a special team, and they are one of the best teams on the planet at the moment. And therefore, for that to be reality, they do need to win these big games. And I think this group of players will do enough to win. Will find a way to win. I'm saying it's going to be something like 25-23 to Saints, but I don't really believe it. I just don't know. It's too many uncertainties. I'm so worried about Finn Russell. Yeah. It being the Finn Russell. Yeah.
You got to think of the Courtney, the Waller, the Ludlam, the Moon. This is their last game. Bath haven't got that.
I think that's again what kind of just tips it slightly, and I think sometimes that emotion can ruin it for you, but I think that helped us get us over the line against Sarries, particularly at Courtney at the end. Courtney was like, I'm helping us just get that turnover at the end because I want to win and I need to win. And I think that's going to give us an edge that's going to just get us over the line, I think. I think we've just got... And I think we are, like you said, we're very settled, and I think we know from the semi-final, particularly against Leinster, what not to do. I think that's really beneficial because I think Bath perhaps don't have that. They don't, especially not this season, and, it's been a while since they've been there the same as us, but I still think we're a young side, but I think we've just got that kind of experience this season from what not to do and what we should do. And I actually think we were really good against Saracens in that second half in particular. I actually thought we were really strong. So I think carry that forward into, obviously we'll probably need to play a slightly different tactical game because they're not the same type of side at all. But I think that emotional edge actually is going to help us, not hinder us.
You're going to put a score on it then?
I did. I said 24-21.
Oh, did you? Oh, I didn't hear you. Sorry. I thought you just said.
All gone very similar.
Yeah, and you said 25-23. Yeah, so I think.
So,
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying it because.
Yeah.
I'm saying it because Finn Smith did it against Munster and hilariously Leicester, so I want him to do it again. Of like he'll just get a drop goal at the end and it will be the Finn Smith show instead.
As long as it's not the Finn Russell show.
Anyway, I don't mind if it's the Finn Russell show as long as it's also, if it's like a really good battle between the tens, that's always nice.
No, let's just have a no show from Finn Russell. That'd be ideal.
he'll pull out last minute with a dodgy leg or something. That'd be handy.
Yeah. Anyway, let's wrap it up there then. Brilliant. Thanks everyone for listening once again. If you're travelling down to Twickenham, have safe travels and make sure you enjoy the game. Should be one hell of a fixture. I've been Charles McGillivray. Simon's been Simon. Jess has been Jess. Goodbye from us.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Come on, you Saints.